Rajita madam.
Sir.
It is already 3:30, madam. You start introduction about our today's resource person and start the session, madam.
Okay, sir. Yeah. Good afternoon, one and all. Myself, K.R. Rajita, EC HOD of our Meena Institute of Engineering and Technology for Women, Miryalguda. So today we gathered here for a orientation class on passive optical networks. So today our management has given a good opportunity to us to know about the optical communications from a practical person like Mr. Suman sir. So the resource person is Mr. Suman Bokre sir, Managing Director of Swift Tele Company. It is a internet service providing network in Nalgonda region. So it is very inspiring to present the sir that sir is a blind entrepreneur of the Swift Tele Company. So now today I heartfully welcome all our EC students of 4 years in one class today. I wish to introduce our resource person, Mr. Suman Bokre sir. He is a great personality who overcome a challenge that he is visibly disabled. So sir never felt that he is a person challenged with the sort of vision. So he started learning the things in school as usual like other students. So he has a great positive energy and the activities are doing are also inspiring to us. So it gives some insight to us. So his day-to-day lifestyle is also very motivational. So coming to networking, sir has taken the world satellite radio distribution and implemented. So the implementation leads to the company, and sometimes he used to fit the things by his own. And sir introduced a personality development classes for GRE TOEFL exams for many students in our Nalgonda region at low cost. So who want to go for higher studies in their career. And the next, so sir also helped many persons who are challenged differently so towards a successful career. So coming to the technical skills, sir can deal with the electronics, software, mobile applications, and any kind of automobile applications. So once if we challenged or some if we asked for a service, so he can do all the above things. And in early days of his career, sir wanted to become a music director in film industry. So somehow that chances were missed. So now sir is a challenging entrepreneur. And by the profile of the Mr. Suman sir, we can learn how to overcome the disabilities. So we should not stop with the disabilities. So we have to stand again and we have to run towards our successful career. So from sir, we can learn many things. So this is the brief introduction about Suman sir's career. And now I would like to hand over this session to Suman sir. Suman sir.
Yeah, good evening, everybody, and thank you so much, Rajit Garu, for the great introduction. Yeah, I hope I'm audible to every one of you. Yeah. So yeah, it's really honoring for me to present to you all and such a wonderful audience you are all. And now basically, let me, without wasting much time, let me start the orientation on passive optical network. So I would like you all a bit backward, and let's start discussing about the ongoing world pandemic. Now unfortunately things are not going well, and corona is spreading all over the world, and things were paused and people were confused, like we really don't know what to do and how to deal with this. So now that is the thing actually what is really affecting us. And now the only helpful thing in this world right now, which is encouraging us to go ahead with the work, go ahead with the classes, go ahead with the day-to-day activity we are dealing with is internet. And now when you're talking about the internet, when you're talking about the importance of the internet, now let's dig deep into that, like how this internet is brought to you. Now, I hope, every one of you here have an internet connection, and that might be a terrestrial internet connection or a wireless internet connection, whatever it is. Like, the communication, the main key behind the communication is cables. And when you're talking about the cable, now those days, those good olden days, like cables were all made up of copper. And of course, copper is a conductor. And those days, we only had a copper media or aluminum media or any kind of a metal media to transmit electricity or electrical pulses, whatever it is. So, but as you all know, because you guys are engineering students, so you are dealing with physics, you are dealing with many other things, like you are dealing with chemistry. And a conductor always have a disadvantage. So, the major disadvantage of conductor is resistance. You cannot go really far with the metal conduction. The electric pulses will decrease. You will notice, loss of ampere and amplitude, stuff like that. Now, when the world is connected together, when countries are connected together, when cities and town states are connected together, it is really long, big, huge real estates. Now, we cannot just simply send a signal from Miryalaguda to all the way to Hyderabad through a copper cable, because that has an resistance. The signal will get deteriorated, after some, length. Now, to overcome this challenge, those days, there were switches in between, there were many telephone exchanges, because, those things act as an amplifier. Because whenever, you notice a decrease in ampere or decrease in the voltage, you put some kind of active equipment there. Then you amplify the signal over there, and again you start pumping them ahead, forward. So, but this has a lot of limitation, this has a lot of challenges, difficulties involved, and it is all, an energy consuming things, because if you're talking about more active parts in between, and then that consumes a lot of energy, and again energy is definitely, some other day it will lead to global warming. Now, in good olden days, probably 1987, British Telecom. So British Telecom has, researched and introduced a new technology called passive optical network. So layman language, we call it as PON. So the beauty of passive optical network, let's start with the grammar. Now, basically, what is passive? Passive is the thing which works without any energy. No electricity required, no fuel required, so no kinetic energy required, nothing. No friction is required. It's all passive. It doesn't need any energy to work. So passive optical network, and you know what is optical. Optical is about dealing with the light. So network, network. So basically network is all about connecting together. So that might be anything. It might be a social networking, it might be a telecommunications network, it might be a friend circle network, whatever it is. Network is all about relationships. Network is all about connecting together. Network is all about communicating between each other. So now PON, where basically PON is a kind of network architecture which runs without an energy, without any kind of active devices in between. So I'll tell you how it works actually. Now British Telecom has researched and developed and also implemented this diagram of, you can call it this architecture in 1987 by naming it as an PON. Now when you're talking about optical networking, and basically optical network will not use any kind of metal cables. It will not use any kind of conductive material. The communication happens through optical fiber cable. Now, since you are all from an electronics and communication background, I'm sure you heard about optical fiber before. But let me quickly explain you how it is and what exactly it is. So optical fiber is a kind of cable which have no conductive material or a metal inside used for a transmission. Optical fiber will have a glass inside made up of glass silica. So you can quickly Google in for glass silica. You'll get a lot of resources to read on. So glass is used to make optical fiber, and the communication happening through this optical fiber cable is through a laser light beam passing through. So the information, the communication, the information is transmitted as a light beam. That is the beauty of this technology. And a light always travels faster than the sound. Light travels faster than everything in the world. So when you're talking about such a fastest thing, then you can expect the outcomes. Basically, your network is super fast. Your communication will be super fast, clean, because light is always referred to positivity. Light is always referred to energy. Light is always referred to speed. So when you're dealing with the light source, when you're dealing things with light source, then your communication is clean, positive, more energetic, more fast. So basically, optical fiber cable will transmit light beam from one place to other. Now, so what are all involved in optical fiber? So optical fiber cable is made up of glass, and this glass is like a conductive material. Let me compare this cable to a copper cable. Now, copper cable have a copper inside to transmit electricity from one place to other. Now, when you're talking about optical fiber, here glass is used in place of copper, and this glass is again insulated with PVC plastics, and then it is also insulated with some kind of reinforcement that might be a light metal reinforcement. So shortly I will also show you the presentation, the image. And now, so this is about fiber. Now for PON, passive optical networking, let me start the presentation. Give me a minute.
Sir, 1 minute, sir. Sir, some students are waiting, sir. Can you allow them?
Yes, of course. Let them come in.
I made you as host, sir. In participants list, number of students will be there, sir.
Again, making you host. Your name, please.
Radhika, madam.
A minute. So now basically I'm talking about the components used in optical, basically passive optical network. So when you're talking about optical communication, when you're talking about dealing with the light beam, now so far basically those days information was transmitted to copper, as I told you before. Now that information might be anything, like that might be a data, that might be a voice, or that might be a video. So whatever it might be, basically, when you're talking about transmitting data, so that's transmitted as an Ethernet frames, Ethernet. Now, traditionally, when Ethernet frames were introduced, so those things were transmitted as an electrical pulses. Now we are talking about the new technology, that is optical communication. Now we need something in place to convert this electrical pulses into light beams, laser beams. So the device actually is called optical line terminal. So that's, in short, in a layman's language, we call it as OLT. Now OLT is actually placed in CO, so central office. I'll tell you what is central office is. So basically, we in India popularly, we call telephone exchanges. Now, technically, more generically, telephone exchanges are actually originally are called central office, where the actual communication begins, where the actual communication starts. Now, this kind of devices, OLTs, are placed in central offices, that is telephone exchanges, or if the company is not a telco, if the company is not a telecommunication company, if the company is a small internet service provider, then in that case, they call it as NOC, Network Operational Center, NOC. So these kind of devices are actually placed in central offices or NOC. So the OLT will convert electrical pulses into light beams, laser lights. Now, when you're talking about light, when you're talking about optical communication, when you're talking about optics, so physics. So let's talk about some physics here. Basically, light actually, measured in nanometers also. So we call it, when you're talking about wavelength, because when you're transmitting light from one place to other place, so there are wavelengths actually, there are different types of wavelengths, like 1050, and then you also have 1310, you also have 1490. More that you can grab those details on Google, because it takes again a complete different session altogether to discuss about wavelength. So light transmits through this optical fiber in a different wavelengths. So electrical pulses are actually gets converted into laser lights in this equipment. This is OLT. The OLT will take input as an electrical pulses, that converts this electrical pulses into optics, that is laser, and it separates information into different types of wavelengths. Like, let's say, for example, trans, like that is sending. So outgoing information is always trans, and incoming information is always RX, receive. So OLT will transmit. The trans is always 1490 nm, 1490 nanometers wavelength, and receive, OLT incoming receive is always 1310 nm. So more that later. Now basically OLT will translate electrical pulses into laser beam through a small device called SFP. Next slide. SFP, so small factor pluggable. This is a kind of small module because basically when you're talking about, we discussed about OLT. The OLT will have sockets that is called SFP cage. So this kind of modules are inserted in those cages, in those sockets. Now this SFP module will do the magic. Now this SFP module, at the one end it has copper connectors. It takes electrical pulses into this module, and at the other end you have a connector that is optical, transmitter, where actually light comes out and goes into the fiber. So here I would like to mind you about something, because when you're talking about SFP modules, and as I told you that it also have a port where actually light beams will come out. So these optical communication lights, whatever I'm talking about, this 1310 nm and 1490 nm or 1550 nm, these lights are actually not visible to your human eye. But it is very, very dangerous, because these light beams are very powerful. If you poke your eyes into this module, there is a risk of burning your retina. Your retina will be melting down. So now this laser light, because I'll tell you why that light is actually that hazard, because this light have to travel all the way, it carries over to hundreds of kilometers. So when you're shooting a light from here, and this light is capable of going across 20 kilometers, 40 kilometers, or sometimes 100 kilometers also, you can just imagine how powerful that light might be. Though it is not visible to your human eye, this melt down your retina. So this is SFP module, which is actually plugged into OLT. From this SFP module, the laser light comes out. Now, one moment, I'll show you the next slide. Yeah, ONT. So optical network terminal. This device is placed in customer's home. That is, I'm sure you guys have this kind of device. Some of you guys, or most of you guys, have such kind of devices at your home, installed at your home. Because as I told you that OLT is placed in central office, that is telephone exchange, and the communication starts from there. And now OLT has converted the electrical pulses into optics, and through the SFP module, this optical light is pumped into optical fiber, and this optical fiber, all moving around, going all the way to all the streets, poles, and all the stuff like that. And this cable ultimately reach your home, and now this cable again is plugged into this device, that is ONT. Now what this device does is, this takes in optics, because now your computer, your smart TV, or your Wi-Fi router, or your smartphone, whatever it is, do it understand any optics? No. Your smart TV, your computer will not understand anything related to laser lamps or light beams or nothing like that, because it won't understand, or it is not a capable device to take in or receive laser lights. Now what it needs a electrical pulses again. Now your computer or your laptop will have an Ethernet port. Technically it is called RJ45. Or your laptop might have a Wi-Fi, but where you are bringing this Wi-Fi from? You will have a Wi-Fi router at home that will also have a simple LAN socket. Now LAN socket cannot receive light beams, so you need again some kind of device to convert or to translate the light beams back to electrical pulses, so that your computer, your smart TV, or your Wi-Fi router can understand that. So this ONT device will do that job for you. Now this ONT device will take in fiber directly. It will read the optics, it reads the light beam and translates it into electrical pulses. Then again, it outputs as an Ethernet frames. So as an electrical pulses to your router or a computer device. So I'm sure you students definitely have an optical fiber connection at your home, and you have such kind of devices at your home installed. So this is ONTs. Remember, OLTs are placed at the ISP level or telephone exchange level, and then ultimately receiver, the subscriber, the user, the customer will have such kind of devices. This is ONT. Let's move on to the next slide. So I told you about optical fiber cable. So this is what the cable is about. Basically, optical fiber cable. This is optical fiber cable, and now optical fiber cable looks like this. So there are types of optical fiber cable: single mode, multi-mode. So single mode cable is widely used all over the world, because the advantage of single mode fiber is it has no barrier. Basically, long runs, you can go up to hundreds of kilometers with this single mode optical cable. Now let's say now you guys are using internet at the comfort of your home. Now just imagine where this internet is coming from. It might be from your nearest telephone exchange, or it might be near from me. I'm sure some of you are also my customers. Now, where I am getting the internet, where the telephone exchanges are getting the internet from? Is it from Hyderabad? Is Hyderabad producing the internet? No. Is it Bangalore? No. Is it Mumbai? No. Is it Delhi? No. So we are not producing internet anywhere. As I told you, it is all network. It's all connected together. Until and unless all these connections are established, there is no internet. So to give you a light overview on this, a simple overview on this, because again that's going to take another session. So now just to bring down an idea, let's say you're bringing in some video from YouTube. Now basically YouTube has many servers placed all over the world. Now videos are stored in those servers. Now if you're opening YouTube and watching a video, this video has to be pulled down from YouTube all the way to your home. In this process, this YouTube video, whatever you are requesting, is passing through many destinations and many nodes in between. That video what actually you're viewing might be stored in one of the servers of YouTube located at Bangalore, let's say, example. Now this video has to be transmitted all the way from Bangalore, then to Hyderabad, then to Nalgonda, then to Miryalaguda, then to the exchange located in Miryalaguda, from that exchange to your home. Now all these things are only possible when they are all connected to each other. Now when you're talking about connecting each other, now you need some sort of platform, that is this optical fiber cable. So multi-mode fiber cable has more bandwidth, like it has a lot of capacity to transmit. But the limitations of this fiber cable is it is mainly used in very short distances. Let's say maximum I think 500 meters, not more than that. That is half kilometer maximum. But in real world scenario, generally people use people consider it as an 30 meters maximum distance. Like say, if you want to connect two computers within the same room, then you can use multi-mode optical fiber cable. No doubt it has a lot of bandwidth, a lot of capacity to transfer a lot of data. So basically the popular the popular example for this multi-mode optical fiber is basically it is widely used in data centers. So you can Google in what is actually data center is about. Now, let's come back to the topic, single mode. Single mode fiber, as I told you, it is widely used in communication, telecom industry or internet segment. Because it has no limitation, you can take this, single mode cable to all over the world. Actually, you can draw. Let's say today in India, BSNL stands number one for the largest reach of optical fiber cable. They have around 7 lakh kilometers, I believe, as on date. They have 7 lakh kilometers single mode optical fiber cable spread all over the country. And the Jio stands 2. They have around 4 lakh kilometers approximately spread over the world, and Airtel stands 3. They have, I think, if I'm not wrong, approximately less than 3 lakh kilometers optical fiber cable spread all over the country. Now, we have roads, we have highways. Now, all along the highway, you will also have optical fiber cable laid underground. So when you're talking about laying optical fiber underground, so I should also educate you about the rigidness and the process of making this optical fiber cable. Basically, there are different types of optical fiber cable apart from single mode and multi-mode. We are talking about single mode optical fiber cable now. Basically, the construction process of the single mode fiber cable, basically there are aerial cable. And in India, I should say, unfortunately, these optical fiber cables are all overhead. So it's all above the road, like it's all between buildings, between poles, all in the air, all aerial installations. So this kind of aerial optical fiber cable is simple, cheaper, and also thrown to a lot of risk of, getting cut everywhere, even daily or once in a week, twice in a week, or multiple times in a day, because there are possibilities of getting cut by a heavy vehicle, large vehicle passing, and intentional fiber cuts and stuff like that. So this is one type of cable, and the other cable is R-mode cable. So R-mode cable is a kind of optical fiber cable which is actually made very strongly. It has got multiple PVC coating, rubber coatings, and also metal reinforcement on that. And this R-mode cable is actually used underground because you have a risk of rodent bite. I'm sure you know rodent. Now, rat bites, to be very clear, precise. So R-mode cables are more strong and rigid, and these cables are used underground. So this is optical fiber cable, and optical fiber cables have cores in it. So one cable may have multiple optical fibers inside. Like let's say 2 fiber optical cable. One cable will have 2 fiber, or this will go all the way to 144 fibers in a single cable. So let's move on to the next slide. So splitter. Now to talk on this, I would like to go again backward. Let's start with the PON. I told you, British Telecom has actually invented PON. Now, when you're talking about inventing PON, there is a lot of research. There is a lot of white papers, case sheets, and there is a lot of trials, and there are a lot of revisions too. First, 1987, revision 1, basically the initial days of PON. So there is a World Union for Telecommunication Companies, that is ITU, International Telecommunications Union. So these people will classify of all the revisions and researches made, and they set the standards. So they have come up with a standard called ITU G983. So this is first generation, I can say first generation of PON technology, passive optical network technology, that is actually Originally, when you know, actually these people, when they are actually researching on this, they named it as APON, APON, asymmetric passive optical network. So you know the difference between symmetric and asymmetric. So basically, asymmetric is different, like upstream and downstream. To talk more lane, upload and download are not equal. It is asymmetric. When you're talking about symmetric, it is equal. The upstream and downstream both are equal, matching and the same. So asymmetric passive optical network. Here, the downstream is always higher than the upstream. So after certain amount of research, APON has evolved into BPON, broadband passive optical network. Now, this has become a standard in 1987. So there were commercial implementations of this technology. People in few countries started adopting this technology. Telecom companies started investing money on this technology, and there were commercial rollouts. Internet was actually transmitted through this BPON technology. So BPON technology has a standards, and now I'm going to define you that standards. I'm going to explain you that standards. Now, as I told you, this is symmetric. Now, BPON have a limitation of 622 Mbps down and 155 Mbps of upstream data for each port. You cannot telephone exchange, because I told you OLTs are set up, OLTs are placed in telephone exchanges. Now, this OLT is transmitting internet or data to the customer through this OLT, through optical fiber cable. Now, this optical fiber, so this OLT, this telephone exchange can only transmit maximum of 622 Mbps down and 155 Mbps upload per port. And now this 622 Mbps has to be shared among multiple hundreds of customers, which is again a challenge, because there might be many customers demanding for internet connection. There might be many customers wanting for higher speed. Now you have a limitation here. You cannot, here the telephone exchange cannot transmit more than 622 Mbps down. So anyhow, this was into market, and this was into business till 1995. Till 1995, BPON was into commercial rollouts. Later, there was an evolution. There was a development. Then ITU has given another classification, that is G984. Now, G984 was such a success. This was a beautiful technology where you have got drastic improvement in the technology. Now, you got EPON. Because we were talking about APON, we were talking about BPON, now we are talking about EPON, that is Ethernet Passive Optical Network. Now, this beautiful technology has got improved bandwidth. Now, the telephone exchanges can transmit 1.25 Gbps down and 1.25 Gbps up. You have improved bandwidth now to share with your customers. Now, EPON basically evolved all the way up to 2004. And many companies, many world's large telecom companies started investing money on this technology. And it was becoming more popular. And in India, BSNL initially started implementing EPON technology in the country in the year 2004, from 2004, and commercial implementation was actually began in year 2008 in India. So this EPON technology has an symmetric download and upload. Basically, I told you that it has 1.25 Gbps up and 1.25 Gbps down. It's symmetric. Now, till today, people are using, all small telcos, all small internet service providers are using EPON technology only. And it is widely deployed all over the world, though it has security issues, it has poor dynamics, it has got many limitations. So next, the technology has evolved to G984 revision 2, that is GPON. It is one of the proven technology in the world, GPON, gigabit passive optical network. Now the beauty of GPON is basically you have more room. Now basically you have 2.488 Gbps down and 1.25 Gbps of upstream data. It is asymmetric though. Though it is asymmetric, you have a lot of bandwidth to share with your customers. 2.488 Gbps is a lot, and you can give many customers, many connections to your internet customers. Now this is GPON. Now as you're talking about, GPON, it has got a lot of improvements. It has got security enhancements, and now encryption is also part of this GPON technology. Okay, now let's come back to the splitter. So splitters, as like I told you that now transmission or communication among the network is happening through a laser light beam. Let's say a fiber optic cable is running all the way to your home from a telephone exchange. Now you have a customer between your home and the telephone exchange. Now again, for the customer between your home and the telephone exchange, you cannot pull the cable all the way from the telephone exchange to the other customer. It is an again expensive task to deal with. So to overcome this challenge, splitters are in the market. Now basically splitters are available in various types and models, like 1:2, 1:4, 1:8, 1:16, and 1:32, and 1:64, and all the way 1:256 split ratio. I'll explain you why splitters are actually used. Let's say housing board colony. Now you have number of subscribers, number of customers in housing board colony. Now one cable is pulled to housing board colony from the central office. Let's assume that's Swift Tele. Now this cable is carrying optical wavelength, that is laser light beam, all the way from my office to the housing board. Now we got 4 customers there. Now I need to split this laser beam into 4 to connect these 4 customers. Now we will use splitters here. And now I told you it is passive. No electricity required, no energy consuming equipment is involved here. Now how this splitter works, how this multiplication works. So this splitter contains a prism in this, and you know what is a prism is. Prism is a kind of mirror kind of glass which actually helps to reflect the light. Now this laser light enters into the splitter. This light will fall onto that prism, and this prism reflects the light beam into 4 different directions. And this light travels through those 4 different ports to that particular user. The beauty of this technology is all in the light. So it's all about reflections. Now mirrors are used in this splitter. Let's say I have 8 customers. Now again, the single light source will fall on a prism. The prism will have 8 different outgoing ports coming out of the glass, and this light is reflected on 8 different glasses and comes out through a fiber. And this laser beam is transmitted to the customer's home. So this is how we multiply. This is how the laser light beam is multiplied using the splitters. Let's move on to the next slide. Yeah. This is patch cord. What exactly the patch cord is? Now I told you, customer equipment, that is computer or a TV or whatever it is, not or cannot receive laser light beam. It can only read and receive electric pulses. So you have optical network terminal, ONT is installed in your home. Now fiber have to go into the laser light beam, have to go into this ONT. Now this ONT will also have a small SFP in this, and I would like to remind you, I told you about SFP, which is a module which actually do the conversion part, electrical pulses to the optical laser light lamp. Now this ONT device will also have an SFP port behind. No, you cannot simply push a fiber cable into the ONT, right? You need some kind of connector. So what happens is this patch cord is actually spliced. This patch cord is actually jointed to the. We join this patch cord to the fiber, and through this patch cord, the laser light enters into the ONT, customer's ONT. Now this patch cord have a connector, you can see there. Green and blue?
Green. Green.
No, this patch cord has a green connector. So when you're talking about optical connectors, there are mainly 2 types of optical connectors, that is APC and UPC. So angled polished connector and ultra polished connector. So APC connectors are always in green and UPC connectors are always in blue. So let me explain the difference between these 2 connectors. And remember, we are talking about optics. So no conductors here. Also in this conductor, there are no conductors at all. This conductor is made up of glass again. It has a glass tip. Now, when you're talking about angled polished connector, green connector. So when you're talking about light, and glasses, you will also have a possibility of reflections. So here you're terminating the fiber. So now the light comes to an end because it is entering into ONT, customer end device. Now from here the light is not going anywhere. You have a wall kind of thing here. You are stopping the light source here. When you are stopping the light source here, what happens when you through a torch light onto the wall? You see the reflection. The light comes back. So when you're stopping the light beam here into the ONT, there is a risk of reflection. And this reflection will come back all the way to the OLT. This is not acceptable. Now we need a mechanism to overcome this challenge. Now angled polished connector is slightly tilted inside, 8 degrees to 15 degrees. When you're tilting the connector, what happens is the reflection will not come back to the OLT. When you're bending something, the reflection will not travel backwards. And UPC, ultra polished connector, will not have any tilting. It will not have any angled position inside the connector, and it is always pass through. So we generally use UPC kind of connectors when you are moving the, when you are actually transmitting the laser light from one place to another place, you are not stopping it anywhere. So between the splitters or between the highways or between interconnections, you use UPC. It is advisable. So this is about patch cord. Let's move on to the next slide. Now I told you, I mentioned a jointing process. So let's say the fiber cable have entered your home. Now you also have a ONT device placed in your home. Now I told you this fiber cable cannot directly go into the ONT, it needs a connector. For that we are using a patch cord. Now how will you join this patch cord to the optical fiber cable? Because it's not a conductive material, right, wherein you can simply take the insulation, pull the insulation out and join both the copper pairs together and put a tape and plaster secure it. No, you cannot simply join both the cables together and put a tape, kind of the insulation tape, something like that. It's not, it will not work out that way. Now to make joints to the fiber, there is a procedure called splicing, and this tool, this device does the job. How it works? You all know the procedure of welding. So now the welding basically is a process where you melt down metals and then you join together, heat it up. Again, it takes its it takes its physical state. Now it's also same, like, it's a kind of welding. Basically patch cord and fiber optic cable will be brought together close to each other into this device, and this device has an electrodes. When you fire up those electrodes, when you push a button, what happens? These two electrodes will generate thousands of megazoules of power, and this electricity will melt down the glass, and the glass come closer to each other and it cools it off, and this joins, it joins together. So that is the way how fibers are actually joined. That procedure is called fusion splicing, and these machines are used to splice the fiber. It might be a fiber to fiber joint, or it might be a fiber to the patch cord joint, which will again terminate into the customer's ONT device. Next slide. That is all what about passive optical network. Now I told you, I have shown you the basic devices and infrastructure used in passive optical network. Now I'm going to the detailed theory of it. Now optical network terminal, optical line terminal, OLT. Let's go back. Now OLT device is placed in the central exchange, central office. Now this is transmitting all the data required, that is internet, to all the customers. Let's assume that you have 7,000 customers in the town. Now all the 7,000 customers will receive communication from the central exchange, central office, through our OLT. The characteristic of the GPON technology is, I told you that it has 2.488 Gbps down and 1.25 Gbps up bandwidth. The OLT will transmit signals through the fiber cable, and we are using splitters in between to split this laser light beam to n number of customers. Now GPON technology, what it does is, basically the OLT will send the data, transmit the data. Now all the devices, all the ONTs, all the customers will receive the same data. This 2.5 Gbps signal, whatever this OLT is sending through the fiber, is received to all the customers in the network, which is actually connected to this OLT. Now let's say I'm opening a YouTube video. So Suman is opening the YouTube video, Now, this video data, this electric signal, this optics is sent to all the ONTs in the town. Now you don't need it. The other customers don't need this YouTube video. Only I need this YouTube video, right? Now I will only pick up, my ONT device will only pick up whatever is intended for me, and I will discard all the data sent to me which is not intended, which is not addressed to me. So OLT broadcast, OLT will broadcast that is sending. OLT will transmit all the data to all the ONTs connected to it, and it is ONT's responsibility. It is customer premises equipment's responsibility to pick up what data it is intended to receive. Now we have received that data. Suman has received this video and watching it. I again am requesting for another video. Now I am sending a request back to the OLT. Now, as I told you, OLT is sending the data to all the ONTs connected to you, and I connected to the OLT, and ONT is picking up the data intended to it. Now ONTs, all these ONTs are sending requests to the OLT. Now how will the OLT pick up data requests from me? When all these ONTs are sending data requests to multiple requests to the OLT, how OLT is going to decide which requests have come from which ONT? This is a big challenge, because now when you are talking about transmitting, when you are talking about sending the signal, OLT simply sent the broadcast message to all the ONTs. Now it is ONT's headache to pick up. That is done. The challenge is over now. Now all the ONTs are sending the request to OLT. Now how the method of picking up the ONT's request to the OLT is through TDMA process, time division multiple access. I'm sure you heard about this. So TDMA algorithm is actually popularly used in mobile communications. So you can just Google in for TDMA, that you will have beautiful resources available on Google. To explain you in a simple way, OLT will have time slots. So I request everyone to mute their microphones, please. So request everyone to mute their microphones, please. Anyways, now see, let's come back to the topic. Will have a time slot, like it have a TDMA algorithm. Like every ONT is given a chance to speak. Let's say there are 7,000 ONTs, and 7,000 ONTs are sending requests to single OLT. But the single OLT have to listen to each and every ONT connected to it, have to receive information from it. So this process is done through a TDMA algorithm, and OLT will decide. OLT will give a chance to each and every ONT to speak. So every ONT will be given a separate time slot. This ONT has to send data, has to send requests to the OLT in that particular time slot. So this is how OLT will receive, because sending downstream will not have any particular time slot, because it is broadcast message sent to everyone. But upstream is TDMA. Yeah. So now GPON. So there is again a development into GPON technology. There is again an evolution, that is ITU standard G987. So G987 classification is for 10 GPON. So 10 gigabits per second down and 10 gigabits, 2.5 gigabits up it has very lot of bandwidth to share among, and this is happening now. So although there is no commercial implementations of 10G PON in the world right now, so there are POC. These are going on, experiments are going on, and there are a few telecom companies who are actually expecting to launch it very soon into the market. So GPON has, as I told you, it has around 2.5 Gbps down. This have 10G PON have 10 Gbps downlink, and with a greater room for your data, your voices, and your video communication. Now let's come back to the limitations of PON technology. Now, PON. So one PON port, OLT will have multiple PON ports, like 4 ports, 2 ports, 8 ports, and 6 ports. So each port have a limitation. Bandwidth, when you're talking about bandwidth limitation, that is 2.5 Gbps down and 1.25 Gbps up. When you're talking about subscriber limitation, that is a PON port will have, when you're talking about GPON technology, gigabit passive optical network technology, it has got 128 subscribers per each PON. You cannot add more than 128 customers into one PON. This is a limitation of GPON. Then if you're talking about EPON, but the original standards, original white paper says it has a limit of 37,000 subscribers per each PON. But practically in the market, due to the bandwidth limitations, because how much is the bandwidth limitation we have for EPON? That is 1.25 Gbps down and 1.25 Gbps symmetric bandwidth limitation we have. Now we cannot simply distribute this 1 Gbps data to 37,000 customers, right? It's not practically feasible at all. Everyone will be slowed down, and people won't accept running slow today. Now, so hardly with this 1 Gbps bandwidth what we have, the room what we have, we can comfortably go with 64 or slightly 70 customers in one PON of EPON. So this GPON has a greater room because you have a lot of bandwidth, 2.5 Gbps. We are going up to 128. That is a challenge we have. What we have, limitation of 128 customers, subscribers into one port. Now 10G PON also have the similar limitation, that is 128 subscribers per port. But here you have a lot of bandwidth, that is 10 Gbps. Right. Now we saw splitters. And how will you calculate this share? Like, because 128 subscribers per PON port. Now we are using splitters for splitting the laser beam to multiple customers. So I told you there are different types of splitters, like 1:4, 1:8, 1:16, and so on. Now when you are talking about electricity, when you're talking about electrical pulses or electricity, we talk about voltage and ampere. So let's say you are transmitting 12 volts DC with 1 ampere current. Now you cannot just power an air condition with this 12 volts DC and 1 amps current, right? Because air condition needs a lot of power. It needs AC 240 in India, and it needs at least 3 kVA, kiloamps, 3000 amps at least. So we have challenges because when we are talking about light, now when we are talking about electricity, we are talking about voltage, volts and watts and amps. But when we are talking about light beams, which we are using it for communication, we also have some measurements or calculations to take care of. We call it as optical power budget. Now this optics, this laser light, we calculate it as decibels, dB. So now, when you are actually considering dB here, there are threshold. Now dBs are always considered as positives and negatives, like minus, it may go minus or it may go positives, plus. So when you're discussing about minus, we always call it as attenuation. Right now, this passive up to network to make use of PON technology properly. The ultimate destination, like your customer equipment, the ONT, what you have at your home, should be in that acceptable power budget limit. That is, that should not exceed more than minus 28 dB loss, attenuation. So let's say your OLT is sending 0 dB. 0 dB of power from the telephone exchange, or to make it very clear, let's not get confused here. So the OLT, the telephone exchange, is transmitting laser light beam at the rate of plus 1 dB, plus 1 decibel. Now, to the customer's home, there might be many splitters in between. There might be 1:4, there might be 1:8, there might be 1:32. So wherever you are using the splitters in between the network, there is an attenuation, because here the OLT is transmitting 1 dB. So every type of splitter has a certain portion of attenuation, losses. I'll tell you, I'll explain you in detail about it. So let's again come back to the electric pulses. Now I have 12 volts DC coming out of a wire with 1 amps power current. Now I am connecting 2 devices to this 12 volts power. Now what happens? Will the 2 devices get same 12 volts power, 1 ampere? No. This 12 volts is shared between these 2 devices. So then this electric pulses will be compromised, reduced. It will overload. It may fall down. The ampere may fall down. Also the voltage may fall down. Same like the laser. The same principle applies to laser beam too. When you are splitting the laser beam, the power reduces. So to make it very clear, let me explain the split ratio. 1:2 splitter will have 1:2 splitter we use to divide, to multiply, to divide 1 laser beam into 2. To send this to 2 different customers or 2 different lines or 2 different colonies or whatever you say. So now when you are dividing the laser beam into 2, there is an attenuation, there is a power loss. I'm sending 1 plus 1 dB from the telephone exchange. Now I'm using 1:2 splitter here. So 1:2 splitter have a attenuation of 4 dB. There is a loss of 4 dB. What happens here? 1 dB plus 1 dB minus 4 dB. Now how much it is? You'll have -3. How -3? Because when you're talking about dB, 0 is also a big number. 0 is not null here. When you're talking about decibels, 0 is a good number, big number. So 0 also counts. So we are sending plus 1 dB from the exchange, and 1:2 splitter is used in between. Now 1:2 splitter have 4 dB loss attenuation. So plus 1 dB is sent and then -4. So it is -3 dB. We have power budget -3 dB each direction. Let's say 2 way splitter 1:2 is used. So we are taking in 1 dB inside and getting -3 dB out from each direction. Hope I'm clear. Now likewise we have 1:4 splitter. So 1:4 splitter have and 7 dB attenuation. So 1:8 splitter will have 9 dB attenuation. 1:16 splitter will have 14 dB attenuation. and 1:32 splitter will have 19 dB attenuation, and this goes on. Now, I told you that customer end equipment ONT will work when the power is less than minus 28 dB. Let's say there are unexpected losses in between, and at your home you are getting signal that is above 28. Let's say you are getting minus 30 dB. No, your ONT won't work, and that should not work, and it is not acceptable because the quality of connection will be compromised. So the provider should make sure that at any point of time the optical budget should not exceed more than minus 28 at the customer's place. You can use multiples of splitters, but make sure that the loss is not more than minus 28 dB. Now, this is maximum level. Now, when you're talking about minimum, the ONT will work normally when the power is minus 8, between minus 8 to minus 28 dB. Let's say your ONT, your customer's home ONT is receiving minus 5 dB. That is overpower. It will kill the equipment. It is not advisable again. The ONTs are manufactured in the way that it should receive power only between minus 8 to minus 28 dB. So now let's say, I'll give you a clear example. Now I have 1 dB coming out from the telephone exchange. Now this 1 dB is traveled all the way to housing board through an optical fiber cable. Now I have got 10 customers here. No, I got 8 customers here. Now let's say I have plus coming in. Now to the housing board colony, I'm getting plus 1 dB. Now if I connect ONT directly to this 1 dB, the ONT will not work, because as I told you that there is a threshold, like minus, the power should be between minus 8 to minus 28 dB. Now what have to be done? I have to attenuate the power. I have to reduce the power. I have to bring down the power. What I will do, because I have to connect 8 customers, right? Now one fiber I got with the power of plus 1 dB. I am using 8-way splitter here, 1:8. Now once I install 1:8 splitter here in housing board area, what happens? 1:8 splitter has an attenuation of 9 dB. So plus 1 minus 9. How much power you are getting now? Minus 7 dB. So if I connect 8 ONTs, 8 customers into to this 8 dB, will they work? No, they will not, because I told you the acceptable range is between minus 8 to minus 28. Again, I need to bring down the power little. So I can use both the things. Now, every customer place, I have to install a 1 dB attenuator. Attenuator is a kind of small device which is connected to the patch cord to reduce the optical power. But that is again an expensive solution. Simply what I will do to reduce the power, I will add one more 2-way splitter or 4-way splitter depending on my convenience above the 8-way splitter. What I'll do, to the main fiber coming into housing board colony, I will add 1:2. Now plus 1 I have brought in. So 1:2 splitter will have 4 dB loss. Then 1 dB minus 4, I'm getting minus 3 dB now. Now to this 2-way splitter, I will add one more 8-way splitter. So 8-way splitter is having 9 dB loss. So minus 3 dB minus 9. So approximately you will have minus 12 dB. Now it is acceptable range. 12 dB, minus 12 dB is between minus 8 and minus 28. Though ONTs will work absolutely normal. So this is about power budget. So we were talking about optical light beam, and earlier I told you about wavelength. Now light is traveled, and every light has a wavelength. Now OLT is sending signal to ONTs. And ONT should also send the signal back to OLT, because it has to be reciprocated, like, both. What will I do with only receive? Unless I send the information, like if I want to open a YouTube video, I need to send a request, right? Unless I send a request, I cannot get the YouTube video playing on my TV screen. So I have to send a kind of signal back to the OLT. Now, if the light beam is same from the OLT and to the OLT, the communication collides. So there is a risk of getting collision. Both light beams will collide each other, and the communication system breaks in between. To overcome this, the wavelength architecture was implemented. Now, the signal sending from the OLT to the ONT is transmitted through wavelength 1490 nanometers nm. The ONT sending back the signal to the OLT is sent through 1310 nanometers nm. So 1310 is sending back to the OLT, and from the OLT what we are getting, the nanometer is 1490 nm. So light is the same, but there is a change in the light texture. Likewise, there is also another wavelength which is popularly used in GPON technology, that is 1550 nm. So 1550 nm is popularly used for TV communication. So I'm sure you heard about, I'm 100% sure that you know about radio frequencies. So radio frequencies are sonic. Let's not talk much about it. You can also, there is a possibility of transmitting radio frequency through optical fiber. So that technology is called radio frequency over glass. So when you're transmitting radio frequencies through optical fiber cable, you need to opt for a different wavelength which should not collide with the existing transmission, that is 1310 and 1490. So for that, there is a registered dedicated nanometer wavelength, that is 1550. Now, so with this example, you can understand that one single fiber can carry multiples of data, different types of data, different types of information through wavelengths. That is called multiplexing. So it is a vast subject. I urge every one of you to go on Google after this class, whenever you have some free time, read more about GPON technology. I'm sure now you understand how actually the internet is coming all the way to your home. So fortunately, we should all be so thankful to the communication or to the technology through which, we are still surviving, and we are able to manage our day-to-day works or activities or classes. So it was great presenting this orientation to all, and I thank the management and also the students for giving me this wonderful opportunity. And now, after this session, I have a surprise. Now, I would like to ask you a few questions. I will ask you 3 questions, and I'm expecting answers from you. So, Rajita Garu, am I allowed?
Yeah, yes, sir. You can ask.
Yes. So, I told you there is a classifications defined by International Telecom Union. What is the classification given for APON? What is the classification number given to the APON technology? No answers yet. It's okay. Let me tell you, that is ITU G983. So let me quickly come down to the second question. What is the bandwidth limitation of GPON? How much bandwidth do you have for GPON technology? Am I audible to everyone?
Single mode, multi mode.
Sorry? Come again, please. Single mode, multi-mode is types of fiber. But actually, I'm talking about the GPON technology, which sets some bandwidth limitation. Let me tell you the answer. That is 2.5 Gbps down and 1.25 Gbps up. Okay, and one last question. This has a gift. Yeah. So, in which year the PON is invented? Passive optical network.
Sir.
No, it is in 1987 by British Telecom. So, anyways, I have made my mind to give to you guys something. So let me, throw another question to you. This time, slightly easier. Okay. What is the abbreviation of SFP? No answers yet.
Small, palm, pluggable.
Small pluggable, small factor pluggable.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. No, sir. This question is for the students.
Okay.
Okay. Let me have another question. This time very simple. What is the equipment? What is the equipment which is used? What do you call that equipment which is used to split the laser light?
Splitter.
Great. What is the name? Correct answer. What is your name, please?
Splitter.
What is your name?
Splitter, sir.
No. Yeah, you're correct. What is your name? I'm asking you your name.
Sunita, sir.
Sunita. Sunita, you are from?
4th BTech ECE, sir.
Matlab you where actually you locate? I mean, you're from Miryalaguda?
Yes, sir.
Which area?
Shanti Nagar, sir.
Do you have internet connection at home?
No, sir.
Good. So your name is Sunita, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Sunita, Swiftly is gifting you 1 year of internet connection absolutely free. So I congratulate you for the correct question, and I wish you all the best, all the good luck, and please, I request every other students, participating in this meeting, please kindly go on onto the Google. Please read on more on this, because optical communication is the future. And this is very, very helpful for you all people, because electronics and communication, the communication is in your stream, and this stream should be in your blood. Because until and unless you master communication, it will be very, very difficult for you guys to crack your career into electronics. I hope you understand the importance of communication, and make sure that you get yourself updated with all the latest technologies invention. So thank you so much. Thanks a lot. And Rajita Garu, please send me the details of Sunita so that we can get the connection installed.
Okay, sir. That's a great thing.
Thank you, sir, for your gift to our students, sir. Sir, one doubt, sir, I have.
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Not doubt, one request too.
Sir.
Sir, our native place is Guttur district, sir, Andhra Pradesh.
Okay.
That is a very remote village, sir, nearby 10 or 15 villages.
Okay, sir.
We would like to install a GPON technology, sir, with your guidance.
Definitely, sir. We are always there for you, and thanks to the technology, because GPON has become very cheaper, very economic now. With very, very less investment, you can start the business into that particular remote area, and we'll give you 100% support and technical expertise without any monetary benefits. We will do that for sure.
Thank you very much, sir, for your promise. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Madam, give vote of thanks, madam. That's the madam.
Sir.
Please give a vote of thanks to our minister, madam, our
Okay.
respected resource persons today.
Yeah. Good evening, one and all. It's been a long session on our passive optical networks. So, thank you, Mr. Suman Bokre, sir, for giving all the details of all the plugs and the converters and the equipments used in the network establishment. So, everything is explained in detail, sir. Thanks a lot for this long session, and thanks for giving our comments to this time. And even our students are also inspiring with your profile and as well as your presentation. So thank you, sir. Thanks a lot from MENA Institute of Engineering and Technology for Women.
Okay, madam. Shall we
sir.
leave, madam?
Sir.
Okay. Okay.
Sir, మీరు ఎండ్ చేయండి సార్ పోస్ట్.
Hello, all the students are one more on this question. I remind you, some of the students, one of the small requests.
చెప్పండి.
Sorry, they added now. Joining once again.
Okay.
After please rejoin once again. If
I'm sorry, I was slipped out of the meeting.
okay, sir. Madam.
Sir.
Sir, just now joined, madam. Please once again give the vote of thanks, madam. Sir, is not there when you are saying.
Sir.
Like that. Okay, madam.
Okay. Sir.
Please once again you say, madam.
Yes. Sir, our MENA college is heartfully thank you for Suman Bokre sir for providing this much longer session, sir. It is very pleasure to have the great explanation about passive optical networks in detail, sir. Every component and every plug and everything is explained in a nice fashion. And your words, your activities, and your profile is also very inspiring, sir. It gives insight for us. Thank you, Suman sir. Thank you so much.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, Suman sir. Nice to meet you, sir. Such a wonderful person on this occasion, sir. Thank you, sir. We are really lucky to hear your speech, sir. Thank you.
Okay, sir. Sir, shall we read?
1 minute. All the students, one thing I want to tell you regarding management fees. Some of the students have to pay the dues to the college. Management fees. I want to circular individually by your name. Those who are having pending dues. So please pay as early as possible. Management students. already in EC department. There are 20 students are there. Yes, no, madam. Krishna, madam.
I sent sir individually. I called students also.
Very good, very good. Please follow up the students unless they are paying the money. So without paying the fees, how the faculty give